Denise Roche.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to take a short call on this bill because I, like many others on this side of the House, would like to see this bill passed tonight rather than waiting for another long, drawn-out process to ensue before carers and kin carers can actually get a little bit of assistance. Sir, we support this bill, and I want to pay tribute to Tracy Martin for bringing this bill to the House. It's an example of an MP who's seen a need from constituents where she has actually decided to address that need, and this House is actually working towards doing something good for kin carers after all. It's not often it happens, and so Tracy Martin, I do appreciate the fact that you've worked really hard to get it here. The reason we support this bill, sir, is that we too agree that the carers of children who are not their own, orphans, family members who are not in foster care but are being cared for by their kin, have been discriminated against. And this bill will make the difference of over $1,000 a year. But we do have to wonder, sir, that in the context of the benefit increases that the government is trumpeting loud and wide, whether actually these people are going to be any better off than what they would have been if they'd been able to access that $25 a week increase. And I do have some concerns, and I'm still not clear whether the $25 allowance or increase in the benefit allowances that the government has introduced in the last budget, whether that will actually go to those people who are caring for these children, kin carers, who are on unsupported child benefit. And I'm not sure that it is. And if they aren't getting that benefit, then this addition of just over $1,000 a year, basically, even with it, and it won't be introduced for a couple of years, but even with it in place, these carers will still be falling behind. So I've read through the submissions, and I do have to congratulate the Carers as Grandparents organisations, Grandparents Raising Grandchildren organisation, who certainly raised their voices about it. But when I read through the submissions, some of them were incredibly moving, and they talked about the discrimination and the loss of income that they faced when they moved from being a foster carer of their grandchild potentially or other children to being a kin carer. From going from, as one person put it, Mr. Hunt put it, he said, "I support the bill because as a grandfather raising a grandson, he has the same needs and level of support whether he's under SIF's control or WIN's control. In fact, I'd not been fully aware of the huge inequity in financial support for my grandson when I moved from WIN's support, and I would have fought to stay under SIF's control because even though I strongly believe that my grandson is better off in family care than foster care, we feel like we're being penalised despite the fact that we provide a caring, loving family and we want to look after our own." So if we accept that in the state support sector, that it is better for children to be raised by whānau and family and grandparents than it is to be wards of the state and raised by strangers or in institutions, God forbid. If we accept that it's better for them to be looked after by their own kin, then we should be acknowledging that and not exploiting those family members because we can. And so we've seen this time and time again in this House. We've seen it with the way this government has treated family carers of adult children with disabilities and the enormous lengths this government has gone to prevent those adults, those family carers of adults with disabilities from getting any type of top-up in their support, any type of equity. So while this is a very small improvement, and it is an improvement that doesn't kick in for 2 years, and we acknowledge that that was a deal that Tracy Martin had to do to get this into place, we will be supporting this bill. We think it is a good thing that she's brought to the House, and we commend it.